Hey guys, Ryan Z here. The new single She Said is out now, and to go along with it, I have decided to take you into the computer and show you how I actually made the song along with Helen. Just going to cover the basics on the drums and the synths and the vocals and stuff like that. So stay tuned, and you can see how I made the song. Alright, so we're just going to dive straight into it. This isn't the actual final session that I finished the song in, so there was no final mixing or mastering in this actual session, but this was probably the session where most of the production work was done. So this will probably be the best one to show you. Keep things pretty simple. This is the drums. We'll just start with the drums, and we'll just go through what I've got here. It's actually, I mean, the whole thing's pretty simple, really, but that's how good songs are, you know, simple. Okay, so this will be probably the chorus coming in here. Okay, so this is the chorus part. So if I just show you the drums I've got in here. This one here is the kick drum. Just from Trusty Odd Vengeance. Just with some very simple EQ. Those are just for automation. And I've got this guy here, which just makes it short. So there's no decay that will get in the way of the bass line. So that's it for the kick. What else? Finger snap. Oh. Just sent off to some reverb. And this loop here, it might have been actually just from the Logic loops. Yeah, it could have been from the Logic loops, I'm not too sure. But again, just a loop to give it some swing and some groove. Just some basic EQ. Just a boost at the top end, roll off the lows. And again, that is off to reverb. A delay. And again, another reverb. And then what else we got here? Another loop from Trusty Vengeance. Just to help thicken the loop out. And I think, did I? No, I didn't cut that one up. And again, that is just sent off to a reverb. And then these real hats, which just come in during the chorus. Oh, sorry, solo. And there's no processing on those ones there. So, all the drums together. And I'm sending them to a bus. And I found a preset and just did a few tweaks. And just, yeah, gluing them together with that compressor. And that's it for the drums. And, yeah, the chorus is where it has the most drums, obviously. And then for the verses, it's just a bit more stripped down. Really simple. And that's those guys there. Actually, did I yeah, I did unsolo. For the bass, what have we got? Yeah, right, so I'll explain it in a second, but this is obviously, this is the verse. What does it sound like in the verse? So this is just from the Logic sampler, just one of the bass. That one there, that one there, that one there. For that slap bass sound. Solo it, play it out. Just take the I'll take the side chaining off. And then in the chorus. So pretty simple. Obviously in the verse there it was filtered down, but all I've got in terms of processing is those two single EQs. Again, they're just for high and low cut automation. Channel EQ, just rolling off the lows, just boosted a little bit there. R-bass, amazing. I'll see if I can do an A-B on this one and see if there's much difference. That's with, and then I'll take it off in a second. And off. So this just gives it some nice body. It's really good. Some more EQ work, just kind of making it a bit smaller actually, taking off some of the highs there, and then so that's a high pass filter which I must use somewhere in there just for automation purposes, and again the gain is just to automate the volume. That is being sent to an amp. So without the amp, and with, and it's just the Waves guitar amp. It would have been obviously a preset that I found and just tweaked from there. Again, that just gives the top end harmonics a bit of excitement. Yeah, so that's the bass guitar. Now what I did do is in the final session, I did actually cut this out. I did cut the lows off this bass a little bit more, and then I just put a sine wave underneath it so I could really fill out the low end for when it's played on, like bigger systems. Because this is fine for playing on laptops and smaller systems, but there wasn't enough low end when it was played in like a club system. So I just actually cut the lows off this and put a sine wave underneath. So that's it for the bass. Super simple. Okay, so this is obviously the synths and stuff. What have we got? Okay, trusty, obviously like maybe piano sample from in here. Yep, from the M1. Wait, before I forget, I'll just put the bass side chaining back on. So just a piano sound there, some delay, and again sent off to some reverb, and that number 7 is actually a bit of parallel compression basically. So there's that, and you can see I've actually pushed that off to the side there. I've probably got something else that goes the other way, maybe not. High sound, what's this? There's just a sound that I had from Nexus, just kind of gives it a bit of air candy on top. I'll play it with. You can't really hear it when it's in the mix, but it sort of plays a feature in the verses as well. Guitar. Right, so there's actually no guitar until we get to the bridge. So those don't actually probably need to be there. And there's just this awesome little plugin that I found, this guy here. And you can play it in with chords. And that's just got some EQ, some sample delay to make it wide. CLA guitar, sorry. And some stereo delay. So if I just get rid of that, this is what it sounds like with no processing. That was with the processing. Chorus guitar, I've actually got this one in here. Just kind of playing along on the beat there. Just again for a bit of texture. Doesn't really play much of a feature role because it's quite low in the mix. With some EQ. I would have just dipped it out there probably for some vocals, or because I found a muddy spot. Yeah, this is a nice EQ that I like to actually roll off the lows with and boost the top end a little bit. Volume shaper, that's just for side chaining, and then the trusty little OTT compressor. which again is kind of just good for like the mid-range crunch sound. And I'm probably squashing heaps. So just giving it some sort of pretty solid compression so that it just kind of sits right there in the mix. There's not a lot of dynamic. The volume doesn't go up and down. It just sits right there, pretty linear. So there's that. Main chords. These guys go throughout the whole track. So that's in the chorus. So it's more filtered down in the verses here, and then in the chorus it comes up a little bit. But they don't open up like a lot in a way, and that's because the vocals from Helen are still, they're quite busy in the chorus, so you still got to keep the other elements out of the way of the vocal. If there wasn't much of a vocal, then I would probably open those chords up a bit more and take up a bit more of the like spectrum. But because we've got a full prominent vocal in the chorus, there's not a lot of room to open that up. So again, these are just from Nexus. Cut the lows. That's it. There's a filter there. That's going to be for automation. Yeah, single EQ for automation. A bit of the Valhalla reverb. And really simple. I didn't really do any processing on those ones. If you find the right sound, then you don't need to do a lot of processing. Don't know what that guy is there. Bridge bass over here. Just from Nexus. Just again, those two are there for that one's just to roll off the lows a bit. And another reverb. I use a lot of reverb. And this guy again plays in the choruses only. From M1. Just a nice sort of sound to just fill in the back. Again, the chords are just sustained, so I don't actually, there's not a rhythm with those. They just play sustained through each bar. And then this guy here. Yeah, so this guy's just playing the choruses. Same with this one here. This is. So this one kind of plays in the offbeat. Just a little twinkle sound. Again from M1, no processing. And this one's actually pushed out to plus 31. So this offsets this piano at the top here, which was minus. So one goes one way, and then the other one goes the other way. So all together, they'll have side chaining on, but I'll see what it sounds like all together. So that's what they all sound like together. This guy here is actually playing sort of like a counter melody, so it doesn't follow the progression. It kind of goes the opposite way to, when the chord goes down, this goes up. And that's all that stuff. That's it, the drums, the bass, the synth, and then of course on top of that is the vocals. And again, the vocals go through a lot of processing through different projects and stuff, so I've kind of just comped them all into one. But with the verses, we just did one vocal. One vocal was enough. And then, I'll play them in a second. And then for the choruses, we did 3 different takes. And so I would just sort of process them differently and pan them off slightly differently and just layer them up. And it would, I keep it pretty simple with the processing as well for the vocals. Just a lot of compression, EQ, and de-essing really is the main things that I do. Oh, and reverb, touch of reverb. And this is what they sound like in the verse.
She says that we don't think that we're afloat but about to sink.
It's just catching all the
She says she
S's and the T's and stuff.
wanted more, but had forgotten what it was all for. She said we'd all lost how to live, to live, to live, to live. And I can feel the world fall, feel the world falling.
So you can see there, I normally like to go from the verses being pretty much straight down the middle, and then when it comes into the chorus, they open up in width. So, you know, it feels like it's really getting bigger in the chorus.
All lost how to live, to live, to live, to live.
Down the middle, and now it will open up for the chorus.
And I can feel the world fall, feel the world falling.
And one of these ones, it must have been in a different project, but I will also, as well, for the vocals, I'll normally layer a different sort of harmony in there. Well, we normally do it. Helen will often sing it, particularly the high ones. She sings those ones, but for the lower ones, I will normally just do it on my end. Not that she can't do it; she can do everything, but I just will often put it through auto-tune or iZotope Nectar, and I will just fit in usually like an octave lower, or maybe down 5 semitones. So it becomes like a fifth going downwards, that is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And these guys here, what are these guys? So what I would have done for that one there is, so that one fills in the gap of our player, and you can hear these guys, they fill in the gap. So that fills in the gap, and I normally like to get the vocals that she's, sung for the chorus, and then I'll chop them up, and then I'll put them into this guy here, into the sampler, and so then I can play them on my keyboard. So if I was to just sort of go in there, see if I can show it. So yeah, I chop them up and I put them on the across my keyboard, and then I just go along and just trial and error, and then I'll just hit a whole bunch of different notes, and then I'll normally get like a little counter melody or something else to play along with the chorus vocals that are already there, and that is exactly how I came up with this part here. In fact, if I probably play this one, it's probably going to be. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I played in, and then I just bounced it to audio, and then it was that guy there. So that's how that works. And really, okay, so the top part here, I do have effects, which is just sweeps, impacts, rises, and a couple of snare fills, crashes, reverse crash, and that's it. Yeah, it really was just a simple drum, a drum groove, one bass, and some synths. And then if you've got a nice bed and you put some vocals on there, some killer vocals like with Helen, that's how the track comes about. So I hope that has just given a little insight there to the behind the scenes of this track. We hope you like it, and jump onto the Facebook and stuff and support it. There's some links up. Yeah, there's a video coming out, or depending on when you watch this, it will be out. Any questions, hit me up. Always happy to help out with anything production related, music related. No worries. All right, thanks guys.